went up today too. So
yeah,
today or yesterday.
The testing one.
Yeah.
Yep.
Was it the testing one?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta finish the preseason primer one.
Honestly, listen to it in the background, Boston, because when they start talking about tires, you're probably going to want to fall asleep.
Yeah, I'll listen to it when I'm like laying in bed and playing a game, and that usually works pretty well.
The tires one, or when they started talking about tires, that wasn't so bad because I heard them say a couple times in Drive to Survive, you know, them talking about C2, C3s, and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm guessing this is different grips and types, but I don't know what's what. So having them break that down actually helped out too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, different compounds of hardness essentially is what it is.
Yeah, they're talking about, you know, how. And that was the other thing too. Seeing them come out with like basically hair dryers for the tires and stuff, I figured that it had to do with keeping the tires at a certain temperature. And I'm like, is there anything else to this, or is that all it is?
Right.
Yeah. Well, you've seen the fancy tire blankets.
Yep. Dude, one of them, I forget. I think it was Mercedes that on their tire rack, like. Each individual has like an LED screen on it. I'm like, this is like some sci-fi shit they got going on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Got the money.
It's insane. It's great, but it's insane. And the funny thing is, like, this is probably going to be a good year to get into Formula One because it's the last year of the existing regulations. So the field is compressing a little bit, so everyone's getting closer and closer and closer to each other, which is what happens when you have solid regulations over long periods of time. So everyone's going to be closer. Racing Point are on both of my fantasy Formula One teams because they are cheap because they came basically last year. And now they have last year's Mercedes to play with. So something tells me they're going to perform pretty well, I'm hoping. But yeah, there's a lot.
Racing Point's the one that took over for India, right?
Yes, the ones who took over from Force India. The one who Daddy bought a seat, as I like to call them.
Right.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited. I can't wait till next year because next year the car designs just look like sci-fi wipeout cars.
Yeah, now we're talking.
Like
hover car shit in there.
Yeah.
You know,
maglev it up.
Now you've seen Formula One cars, so you know all those stupid little winglets and stuff on the front and the sides and stuff like that. Yeah. That's all about aero grip because that's how they need to get the grip now. Now they're using for next year. They're revising all of the specs of the cars. Essentially, the engines are going to stay the same, but all of the aero rules are changing. So next year they're going to start using ground effect instead of aero. So rather than the air going over the top of the car, they're going to have basically channels underneath it that tighten.
Oh.
And as the air goes through it, due to the Venturi effect, I believe it's called, what it's going to create, it's going to, instead of pushing the car down from the above, it's going to suck the car down from underneath.
Wow,
so
cool.
The back wings are now just going to be nice, simple plates. The front wings are just going to be nice, simple plates. So that, fingers crossed, overtaking isn't such a bitch. Right. Because overtaking is hard in a car where the air rippling in front of you causes problems.
But now so we have flying cars.
Well, I was going to say, does that mean that they're lifting the vehicles up too? Because I see those motherfuckers hit shit everywhere on that underbody.
An inch off the ground.
Yeah. The tires are going to be bigger. The brakes are going to be bigger. Like
they're going to
whole bunch of stuff.
Was it 18-inch wheels now or whatever?
I think, yeah. The next year is going to be like rolling with the homies kind of wheels.
Yeah. Yeah, if people can't tell by how knowledgeable I kind of am now, I read a lot of shit this past week.
Yeah. Well, it's easy when the sport's been around for like 120 years to a lot of people that really love it and are on the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, you guys ready to get started?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to another episode of That Video Game Podcast, your best resource for all the breaking F1 racing news. I'm your host, Boston. Joining me as always is Moonpear.
Hello.
And the Nimp.
Hey.
Patreon.com/E1M1. The ones are numbers. All the cool behind-the-scenes, early access, and uncensored F1 news an Hourverse, actually, that you definitely want. We have a brand new episode of Outcast every week. This is the completely uncensored, before we record sort of stuff. We're just sort of sitting around shooting the poops and talking about whatever's going on in our lives. Like how tired we are because of daylight savings. That devil daylight savings. Patreon.com/E1M1. The $5 a month tier is the recommended one. That gets you everything for only $5 a month. I think that's it. So let's get started with you, Moon.
Okie doke. Oh, it's not like I've got like 12 games to talk about this week, but luckily one of them is for Game Club. One of them is a movie for special projects. Wink, wink.
Boy, I got really sick this week, and it was one of those things where, like, one day I'm like, yeah, it's allergies. It should be fine. The next day I was like, oh no, this is real bad. Stardew Valley was really good to me this week.
Yeah, and it's also a very good time to be feeling sick in general. Yeah, you know, no issues to concerns to be worried about on that
at
front.
all. Nothing to worry about.
Nope, nothing at all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start with The Sims 4.
Oh.
So
are you and my wife been playing that now, or what?
Sims 4 is real good. I haven't
no,
played it on console, but it's real good.
Fortunately for me, somebody released an achievement guide on how to get every achievement in The Sims 4 in not 80 hours, but 2.
Okay.
So I went in and played The Sims 4, and by played I mean I got every single achievement in the game.
I played The Sims 4 for 2 hours.
Yes. And I'm glad I did, because as much as I love The Sims 4, I don't think... sorry, correction. As much as I love The Sims conceptually,
right,
I don't think I like The Sims 4.
Sims 4 is divisive.
And honestly, it's not the game's fault. The last Sims game I played before this was The Sims 2 on Game Boy Color, which was a cool story mode game, which was actually really amazing.
Yeah, that was a cool, different game.
And it was like a murder mystery and all kinds of other stuff going on. It's like, okay, cool, whatever. Now I'm going to space. Sure.
Well, why not? Final Fantasy 4.
The Sims on the Game Boy Color was really, really good. It's so weirdly good. But yeah, what happened to The Sims? Because now your needs mean nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
I think that's one of the biggest frustrations about 4 is like the people simulation side of it has been minimized in favor of careers and friendships and the town really mattering, and I think that's kind of a bummer. It's
interesting. I mean, don't get me wrong, I watched Giant Bomb's 13 Sims to Die or whatever it's called.
Sims, which is really good.
Like, I watched that and it's like cool seeing it and stuff like that, but I just assumed I was missing something because, you know, I'm not Abby who has put 1 million hours into The Sims.
Right.
Which, by the way, I love the fact that she's doing a 100 Sims challenge, 100 Sims baby challenge or whatever it is.
I haven't seen it yet.
And there is someone else who streams The Sims 4 called Abby, who's using the exact same hashtag.
Oh.
And a whole bunch of people posted like gallery things for her to download for this challenge or something. And this other Abby, not Giant Bomb Abby, was just like, what happened? Because all of a sudden my hashtag is full, like hundreds and hundreds of new designs in this hashtag. What happened?
That's really good.
Well, who would have known that there was another girl called Abby who looks exactly like me, who happens to be streaming the same thing? It's like, okay, sure. It was great because the two of them started interacting on Twitter and it was hilarious and cute. Anyway, moodlets. What are moodlets? Who knows? I don't know what a moodlet is.
Not sure I even know anymore.
It feels like I'm trying to get into Formula 1 for the first time playing Sims 4. Everything changed.
Yeah.
Everything changed. I was like, no, I just need to go to the toilet, make some food, get some sleep, go to work, get promoted, get a job, come home, go to the toilet, get some sleep, get a shower,
it's like
go
me
to work.
watching Formula 1 where it's like, differentials. Yep, I know what that means. Sure. Yep, gotcha.
Yeah.
Got it.
Everything changed, and I love the way it looks, and they've done a surprisingly good job of the controls on the console version. And I love their interactions, and I still love the stupid gibberish Simlish.
Yes.
still so good, and I will still forever love Katy Perry for doing a cover of her own song in Simlish for Sims 2, I believe it was.
It's really good.
It's how they've done that. All of that stuff is great, and the game looks great and fantastic and stuff. And I think I'm too old for The Sims.
There's this thing that happens with Sims that I have for the longest time I suspected what happens with the Civilization games happened with The Sims, where it's like Civ 6 comes out and everyone's like, yeah, but it's not as good as Civ 5. Like, I have 400 hours in Civ 5. Civ 6 isn't as good. Civ 7 comes out and they're like, yeah, but it's not as good as Civ 6. Like, I've had 700 hours in Civ 6. I always think that happens with some of these longer running series where like Sims 4 came out and everyone's like, it's not as good as Sims 3. But that opinion has persisted over the years. It's like Sims 4 has done a lot of cool stuff, and a lot of the larger expansions and some of the smaller ones.
The 3 different types of DLC packs doesn't help.
It's complicated. But like all of that stuff has done a really great job at continuing to expand and evolve the game. But so many people are still like, but Sims 3 sort of did The Sims better without losing sight of some of the stuff that The Sims 4 did. And I feel like it's interesting because that opinion has persisted, where usually be like, it's no Sims 3, but it's come a long way and it's good on its own right. Everyone's sort of like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just me. Maybe I just need more of a basic B kind of game, because the best Civ game is Civ Rev. I don't have time for all the other stuff around that. I don't have time for everything else.
It's why Risk Factions was so good on the Xbox Live Arcade. I have 20 minutes. I don't have 5 hours.
Yeah, exactly. I think like I said, I think I'm too old for The Sims. I think I don't have enough time. I don't have the mental capacity to try and remember right and left camera inverts because it doesn't save my stupid thing.
Of course it doesn't.
Why not?
Yeah.
It's a good game. Conceptually, it's great. I just don't think it's the game for me.
Right.
Because I have aspirations of my own. I don't want to make this sim a rock star when I can barely get out of bed in the morning.
Right. Your sim is podcasting in the game, and it's like, this is too close to home.
Yeah, exactly. Next thing you know, I've got 2 people living in the house with 3 cats, while one of them spends all of their time podcasting, the other one becomes a pro game player. It's just like
your in-game wife decides to pick up Rainbow Six Siege, and you're like, wait a second.
I don't need that.
There's a glitch in the Matrix.
I don't. When I was younger, I liked the idea of turning this little digitized version of me into something special. Now I'm older and wiser. I know I'll never be anything special. And
we're millennials. We're honest about our futures.
Making the small digitized version of me better than me is not something I'm really interested in this late age of my life.
All it's doing is punishing yourself.
Exactly.
This Sisyphean task.
I could have been a movie star if only I'd, read more books. If only I'd researched more on the computer. I could have been a movie star.
No, you're a millennial. Sit back down.
Because the issue I have here is I always make myself. I cannot help it.
Okay.
If it's Mass Effect, I'm going to play as the default character because that's the person they have put in the game.
Right.
Also because
Joe White dude.
Yeah. Also because if you do custom characters in those games, they just look like monstrosities. If it's a create a character thing, I default to making myself. That's changed recently over the past couple of years or so. I'm getting more into doing other things, diverse things. I'll play as a female. I'll do this. I'll do that. Whatever. But in general, if it's a game like this where it's about real quotation marks life,
The Sims is real, Moon.
then I'm gonna make myself, and it's gonna just depress me to make myself this world famous author. And I'm
look at this
here.
giant house you live in, Stephen King. It's like, oh no.
Exactly. I
take the VR headset off.
I don't need to cause myself more depression by making a digital version of me better than me.
Right.
That's why I have my gamer score. It's the one thing I can be proud of in my life. Well, apart from my wife and cat children.
Sure, yeah.
That's the one thing I can be proud of myself.
Let's say, because my wife mostly plays it because she likes the building aspects in it,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I haven't had a PC title in the games that I've played in the last how many months now?
Yep.
Because, yeah, but she has like our entire family built out, including pets, and we got it for free on Origin, and originally she didn't want to play it because she has all the expansions for Sim 1. I still have them in my closet.
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm not going to buy any expansions. I'm like, all right, fine, whatever. And then the holiday sales hit, and then everything was like $20 or less. And she's like, well, I really want this one. I'm like, all right, pick it up. She's like, but it's like, you don't have to explain it to me. Just buy it if you want it. I don't care.
You've already put 400 hours in. You're going to put 400 more. Just spend the $60.
She gets real into, she will look up house plans online, and then she will build them in the game.
Oh, that's cool, though.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's her big thing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. Like, my wife does something similar. Like, my wife will, like, she will create people and, like, have fantasy storylines, her own, and I know Boston doesn't like this word, headcanon for the people that she has. Like, this is Gloria Cheesebro, and she lives in this house. She's 96 years old, and she has 4 granddaughters who are all vying after her will, but what's going to happen? Like, my wife will create her own stories.
Yeah.
I can't do that because I'm not writing it. I can't do that in my own head. I can do that in words on paper.
Sure.
I can't do that in a game, kind of. Not as wholly original as that.
You need
at
the
least.
Sims to follow the script.
Yeah.
I've written the story, just follow the story.
Yeah, exactly. And in my case, the story is, don't be better than me, you little punk.
Right.
You know, there is a cat trying to get into my office, so that's kind of cool. But yeah, it's The Sims 4. I got all of the achievements in it, and I uninstalled it because what awaited me there was depression of my own making, and I don't want to go down that road any more than I have to. Thank you very much. Oh. But anyway, yes. Sorry, I'm getting Sims flashbacks. The shocking one for me this week, I'm going to save the best till last. I played a visual novel yesterday.
I'm excited to hear which one it is.
Don't be. Oh. 10. Take that excited meter and just dial it all the way back to 0.
I thought you were going to say, like, I played 428, and it's like, hell yeah.
No, dude, I played Danganronpa. No, I didn't. Don't get excited. Don't get excited.
I don't know if you'd like Danganronpa. I'm not sure.
I didn't even want to finish that sentence without immediately turning the off switch on your excitement down.
You could see me getting excited and then just watch my heart crack in half.
Exactly. I don't want to do that to you. No, I played 3/4 Home.
3/4 Home?
Mm-hmm.
What is this,
Pro
a
tip,
Kingdom
Boston?
Hearts game?
No, there weren't enough symbols in the title.
That's right.
Yeah.
3 Hearts
Although,
Home Kai.
Technically, if you load up the game, it is 3/4 Home is the actual title. Don't play this, Boston. Just don't.
Okay.
I say that from the genuine bottom of my heart. This was probably picked up at some point by either me or my wife. I love you, darling. As an easy 1000 game. And it is. Number 1, it is. Number 2, Raticala Games. Shout out. 10 visual novels coming to the Xbox soon. Thank you very much, Raticala Games. Looking forward to that. So, visual novels. Do you ever have to just hold one button throughout the entirety of the game?
No. Why would they have you do that?
Because you have to hold the right trigger throughout the entirety of the game.
Or else what, the bomb goes off?
Yeah, like to do what?
You're driving a car.
Oh, no.
And I'm sure I saw you Google it, so I know you're already looking at screenshots. And
I was trying to, and it's something that's very hard to Google.
It used the full words. Use 3 word, 4th word, home word.
Okay. I had written it down wrong.
And yeah, it's basically a 2. You remember the early South Park episodes with the paper cutouts?
Yeah.
Imagine that in 2 tones, 3 tones, black, white, and grey. Really, really simple. You're driving a car home. You're getting a phone conversation with your mother.
Sorry, Jimbo Jangles in chat says, Desert Bus, a novel.
Not wrong.
Not too far off?
Not at all, because you are driving the car, so you hold the right trigger to accelerate the car. If you let go of the right trigger, the car stops and it goes into the pause menu, and the conversation doesn't continue.
Okay.
If you hit A over and over and over again, It does nothing. You need to cycle between the person you're speaking to on the phone and yourself with X to shift it to your side, A to confirm a selection. Goes back to them, X to shift it to your side, A to confirm a selection. The story is average at best. It feels like it was written by an 8th grader. I don't know how old 8th graders are. Sorry in advance to all 8th graders who might be listening. It feels like a kid's first visual novel or kid's first short story, essentially. To the point where in the actual visual novel, it has a kid's first short story in it.
Interesting.
No, it's not. Correction. Conceptually, there's really good ideas in place here. Really solid ideas. Really simple mechanics. You're driving home, you've got the thunderstorm, you've got a tornado possibly coming in, you've got really good sound effects to go with it. 0 voice acting, all text-based, that's fine. When you speak to your younger brother, he is probably on the spectrum at some point, but it never goes into details. But he starts reading you a story he's written, and it's really good story. His section is a really good story, really well written, and the sound effects do a good job of fading out and like kind of being a little bit absorbing in that sense. And then the game ends. There is 0 closure for the game, which in a game like Life is Strange, if you never have to make that last decision and it just cuts off before you make that last decision, that's good. That's a what if scenario.
Sure,
what
you
if
built
this happened?
to that
What
point.
if that happened? This is 45 minutes of attempting to get, 20 minutes of attempting to get you to care about your character, your mother and father, and your younger brother. And then about 20 minutes of your younger brother telling a story, and then the game ends. All the while holding the right trigger.
That's the part that sucks the most, because you don't need it. It's nothing like, the canneries, the famous cannery section in Edith Finch. You're doing 2 things at the same time because it's important to the story. The gameplay and the story are matching up perfectly in that portion. And I still don't want to spoil it because I want people to go play Edith Finch. In something like this,
for taking our advice on that, by the way.
Yeah,
a friend of the show, Slug Jones, saw us all posting about our best games of this generation, and Edith hit 5 of us. Yeah, and he went and played it based on that alone, and then got 1,000 gamer score in it.
That game is so good. But in a visual novel, in something, and I'm watching a trailer now. Is it all from the 2D perspective from the side?
Yep. Literally, the only thing that changes is something will happen in the background. There's the school. Have a 2-minute conversation about the school. Here's some cornfields. Now there's no cornfields. Now there's cornfields. Now there's no cornfields.
That's really frustrating because I think I don't. It doesn't feel like there's anything gained from a story perspective by having you have to hold down the right trigger for 45 minutes.
There is one thing gained from it. You can hit the right bumper to beep the horn.
There you go. Honk.
And then there is there's an epilogue thing, which is basically a day in the life of the character you were and some of the regrets that they have about not calling home. So I'm assuming the family's dead based off the epilogue.
Sure.
But the epilogue is included in the console version. I think it was DLC for the original version. Don't play this game. I know Mina's in chat. I know you're here.
I'm so bummed out because
fans.
I like the style of this game, and I like the idea of the story where it's you could tell a really cool story of I'm driving home at night, there's a terrible storm, and I'm talking to someone on the phone because I need to stay awake, and I need to talk to someone while I'm driving through the middle of the Midwest, which I've done plenty of times before, in the middle of the night. And I think there's a cool story to be told there, but
like I said, conceptually, there is something about it. It does, on a conceptual level, it really has the potential to be amazing. But by the time the game was finished, I didn't care about the characters. I didn't care about the parents. Kind of cared a little bit about the little brother. But the controls just made me want to throw my controller. And it's a Series 2, Elite, so I ain't throwing that controller around.
What a bummer. This isn't the first visual novel you've played, right?
No, Doki Doki was the first visual novel I played.
Boy, hit it hard and fast, huh?
Yeah, you started with, you know, the meanest and one of the best. So
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I like I said, the publisher we talked about a couple of weeks ago, I think Raticali Games, have announced that they are releasing 10 visual novels to the Xbox store soon.
That's great.
So I'm gonna check and see what they are, and then potentially scramble down that rabbit hole. So this can just become that visual novel podcast.
Yeah, as it's always been.
Since day one, all about the visual novels. I will get to Danganronpa eventually at some point, maybe when I'm 90. We'll see.
Danganronpa, all three of those games are really good. The second one is probably the best.
I have heard as much from, I don't know, you,
Yeah.
Mina, everybody else who ever talks about visual novels ever, period.
Have you played any of the Phoenix Wright games?
Yes.
Okay.
That's not a visual novel. Come on, dude. That's it.
It's very close. And if you liked the Phoenix Wright games, you'll like Danganronpa. They share similar DNA, where it's like, here's a bunch of visual novel stuff, here's an investigation, here's some... It sort of flips between the two.
Yeah, I played the first Phoenix Wright. I'm real waiting for that email notification from psprices.com, not sponsored, to tell me that thing's gone down in price.
Like the triple pack or whatever it is?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm waiting on that because, speaking of easy achievements, that will be easy enough.
Yeah, and those first three Phoenix Wright games are all real good.
Yep. Always games I wanted to play.
Yeah.
I like Thingo as well, though. Professor Layton. So
yeah.
I like strange games sometimes. Speaking of strange games, my final game this week, there's only one answer to this, and it's not Formula 1 2019, because the new one will be coming out soon. It's Yakuza 0.
Yeah, hell yeah, it is.
I have now officially progressed further past the point that I had on the PlayStation 4.
Perfect.
There is a motorbike fight in a sewer pipe.
Hell yeah, there was. Sick. Lots of shirts getting torn off.
Yeah, lots of shirts getting torn off, lots of water getting kicked in people's faces.
Yep.
I have a note here, which I don't know if this is a swear word on the show, but I'm going to say it anyway. I have that damn calming towel.
What was that?
So, yeah, exactly.
Me and chat says shirts torn off, perks up. That's
yep.
Right.
So, the calming towel in Yakuza 0. Okay. This is an item that you get given as part of the sub-stories. I thought my game was glitched.
Okay.
Because the calming towel keeps you calm at all times.
Okay.
Oh, so your rage meter doesn't go up?
There we go.
Aha.
That may be why I didn't know what it was, because I was like, oops, no, probably never used it.
Yep. So, I spent 3 fights and that motorbike boss fight.
Oh no.
Not having any heat meter at all.
Oh no.
Assuming that my game was glitched and not wanting to put another 42 hours into the game because I'm insane right now, and that's how much I've played Yakuza 0 over the past 2 weeks. I was annoyed. So I googled, why does Kiryu not have any heat meter? Is this a glitch?
Right.
And the very first post was on Reddit, and the very first response was, do you have the calming towel equipped? I went into my equipment, and I had the calming towel equipped.
The thing that I think is so funny about this, your experience of playing this game, is that you're equipping items, a thing I really never did.
I had like 3 that I really liked. I found them early, I put them on, and then every time I get one, I just pop in, check it out, and usually it's not as good as the ones I had.
Yep.
And that's fine. Whatever. I went in, and it had like 5s across the board. And I was like, oh, well, that's better than this other little stupid charm I got for helping that woman out at the cult. Right. So I'm just going to replace this charm with this charm with the calming towel. It's very hard to say all these C words.
Charm with calm, yep.
Yep. I was like, great. Now I'm at like 6 across the board, 7 in a couple here or there. It's like, great.
Super punches.
I am going to go and I'm going to kick the crap out of that stupid shakedown guy.
Yeah.
Which I did like 4 times already. Yeah. So give me my money, punk.
That's right.
Show me the money. And my heat wasn't working at all. And I was so confused, so frustrated. I didn't know what was going on. And then I checked it out. And yeah, that was literally, as soon as I Googled that, the first post was about it. The first response was the calming towel. I was like, I hate you, calming towel.
Yeah.
Because the description tells you everything you need to know. It does not say, this will not let you gain heat.
Right, it's like the one item, like a lot of items will say like, this makes enemies scared of you and they'll run away, or like this one brings more enemies towards you or weakens them or whatever, and this one's just like, yeah, it's a really cool towel.
Keeps you calm, you know? Yeah. Nice and simple. It makes perfect sense if you know the consequences of equipping it.
Right.
If you don't, it makes no sense at all.
Yeah.
I don't know what I did differently, but sure, whatever. That's fine. I am up to like chapter 10 now. So I know I'm coming real close to the end because I'm pretty sure this is a 14 chapter game.
That sounds about right. 14 or 16 maybe.
Let me go.
Yeah. So I think I maybe have 2 left of each character.
17 chapters, but I think the 17th chapter is like
open world
the
stuff.
The game is over, yeah, back to open world.
Yeah. Go and manage the cabaret club.
Oh god, it's so cool.
Welcome, sir.
Yeah.
Don't forget to take your hostess out on dates.
Yep,
get that platinum hostess.
Yep.
already been. I already did the training, the cabaret club training with the girl who you start with at that club. I already did that all the way up to the point of karaoke. We went on our first karaoke date.
Congratulations.
Not really. I got by in the skin of my teeth because it was the injections one, the lively injections, and the syncing is still off. So I have to preempt all of the karaoke parts.
Right.
It's really difficult.
There are 17 chapters. That last chapter is like the finale, like the big fight one.
Okay, so apparently there are missable achievements in this game. I didn't know that. That's great. I will probably have to play through it at some point soon.
Oh, it's the ones for the decisions and the side stories. Or
yes.
like the decision in the chapters where it's like, don't mess up
chapter
handshake.
3. Yep, don't mess up the handshake. Chapter 3 with Kiryu, you have to get the best deal you can for the grand by doing all of the research beforehand.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, there's all
I didn't
of that
get
stuff.
any of those.
Nope. And also complete the game on legendary difficulty, which I don't even know what that is.
It is brutally difficult.
Okay, so I might not end up with the full 1K in this, but that's fine. It's Yakuza 0. I'll play it as much as I feel like playing it.
I'm just happy you've played it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did a whole bunch of the mini games and stuff. Whatever, you know. That's fine. I haven't done pocket car racing yet.
Oh, okay. Literally
done pretty much every other one.
Okay. Saving the best for last, really.
Pretty much, yeah. I love the pocket car racing stuff. Beat down Shakedown a couple of times. Looking pretty strong. Fled through the sewers. I think Chow Yun Fat just showed up.
He did. Yep.
Yep. I saw his face and I was like, it was very quick cut. It was like cut away, and I was like, was that Chow Yun Fat in a white suit with a silenced pistol?
Right. It's like, who's that? Well, I know that guy.
I've seen some of the other people, like the guys, the head of the 3 lieutenants, and what's it called?
For the Tojo clan?
Yes, I've seen those actors in Asian movies, so I know.
Like they're all famous actors, so you're sort of like, I've seen that dude before. Like, what did I see that dude in?
Yeah, like I've seen all of them, but then when I got like the quick snapshot of Chow Yun Fat, I was like, is that really Chow Yun Fat? Did Chow Yun Fat really just show up in this game? Because that's great if he did. If he didn't, whatever. But he's wearing a white suit and he just killed the dude who was trying to kill me, so I'm fine with him being here.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, sure, why not? Let's go down this road. And it's like, I know the guy who voice acts Kiryu has like I think he has a metal band or something as well. And it's like I'm half tempted to go down and see exactly what his real life career is like.
Yeah.
But no, it's Yakuza 0. It's insane in all of the right and the wrong ways.
Yeah.
Like, it's, you know, I don't even know. There's a reason everybody talks about these games. And the reason is because they are great and also stupid and insane.
Yeah, like they are at the same time really great and like this very serious Tojo clan soap opera. And then you're helping a lady get out of a cult. Like there's such these wild swings, but it makes so much sense because they complement each other really well.
Yeah, and then you're dealing with an old lady who likes to push to the front of the line. It's like, okay, well, I don't know why this person who is clearly a cold-blooded killer is letting this woman with a cat face sweater in front of him in line. But okay.
Yep.
Smile and nod.
It's so good.
Whatever. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Mr. Nimp, over to you.
Okay. So, like I said in the pre-show, it wasn't until Friday that I realized that I hadn't played a video game all week because, you know,
Sorry,
F1.
it's my fault.
So the first thing that I played was the Final Fantasy VII demo that came out on the PS4.
Yes, I also played that.
Yeah, that looks really pretty.
That looks stupid good. Like I think I was surprised that HDR is in that game, which when I saw my camera, when I saw the TV flicker and the little HDR logo came up, and I was like, oh really? Interesting. And like,
hello,
this 4K HDR rock solid frame rate Final Fantasy VII is just, God, it looks so good. Like,
yeah, I also had my gold headphones on for the PS4, and the game just sounds amazing. Yeah. The music's great.
The new music is really good.
Yeah,
new old music.
I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah.
So
don't make look. I already pre-ordered my games for the first 2 quarters of the year. I don't need another one added to that list.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Well,
wait until summer.
Yeah. Yeah. Part of
PSPrices.com, Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah. Part of what I'm so interested in the remake is the demo. So the demo is just the bombing mission. Now it's not just the bombing mission because it took me like an hour and 15 minutes. And there's so much more in there because they have you do so much more fighting, and there's so much more exploration. Jesse and Wedge and everybody is really great.
They talk a lot more. Yeah.
They talk a lot more. Still not sold on Barrett's voice. I feel like I'm going to be sold on Barrett's voice as soon as they go back to the bar and meet Tifa and Marlene for the first time.
Yeah, I think once he stops being. Yeah, I think once he stops being such a hard ass, it'll make it a little bit better to take.
I like the so there's like 3. I think there's 3 options you get when you first start the game. Of like, do you want the classic mode where it's kind of essentially turn-based that you can kind of run around in? I picked the new one because I want to see how the action worked. That was great. He has 2 different stances. One's like a light attacks that's fast. The other one's heavy attacks that are slow. You hit the X button and a Final Fantasy menu pops up, and you have items and spells and skills, and one of the skills is just braver. Like it's just like it's all the Final Fantasy VII stuff. I'm torn on the Scorpion tank fight. It was very long. I think I get what they were going for, but like the back and forth and the sheer amount of HP that boss had made that fight really, really. In the Final Fantasy VII, it's like a 5-minute fight where it's like, don't attack the tail / limit break. In this one, like, you're dodging behind cover and you're rolling and you're attacking its shield generator and you're doing dodging missiles and all this stuff. Like, there's so much going on there.
That was the other thing that I found weird with this game is that the dodging doesn't work for jack in this game. Missiles, even if you dodge the first missile that's coming at you, anything that hits around you, you take damage from.
Yep.
The EMP burst that it does, you have like a second or 2 to realize that that's what it's doing, and Cloud or Barrett can't dodge far enough out of the way to get out of it.
Right.
So it's like you really had to pay attention to your attacks, what it was doing, which is fine, I guess, but I don't know. But that fight itself, when you're just doing 12 points of damage, maybe on a good hit.
Right, it's sort of like, this is long. I did like, so at the end of the demo, before they give you like a sizzle reel of Final Fantasy VII stuff coming in the game, they give you like the first real story change in this game. You'd see the president of Shinra and Heidegger talking through like a little cutscene interstitials. When the detonator goes to 0 on the bomb you placed on the Mako reactor, it doesn't explode.
Well, it does. It's just not that big.
Yeah, it like doesn't do anything to the reactor. Yeah. President Shinra tells Heidegger to turn the robots and all the machines and blow up the Mako reactor to kind of pin the blame on Avalanche, which I think is a pretty cool change that I wasn't expecting. So I'm curious to see how they're going to change, because they don't shy away from them being eco-terrorists. I mean, there's still Avalanche in this game. But I'm kind of interested to see where they keep diverging a little bit from this story, because that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, that actually kind of caught me off guard too, especially when it got its own cutscene for everything that was going on for that moment.
Yeah,
or it takes you a second where it's like, okay, what are they doing now? And then they do that, and it's like, oh, this is taking a turn.
Yeah,
so I'm looking forward to it. I wish it was a cool demo. Game. But yeah.
All of the visuals I see from it just make me think, well, it looks like they might actually do it some form of justice. And then I see gameplay and it's like, oh no.
Yeah, I like how all the characters look. Like even Barrett, who has a machine gun for a hand. Like it's just like a stupid design in 2020. Like they do a really good job of selling all of these characters that had like 16 polygons on the PS1. Like Cloud looks really good, Aerith looks really good, Wedge looks kind of cool. Like they redesigned his outfit to be kind of cool. It all looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, you say they were like 4 polygons, but they also had the manuals, and some of that artwork in those manuals were incredible.
Yep. Yeah, I always discount that art from 7, and a lot of the character art was really good.
Yeah, I love the I love the way Tifa looks. Like
Tifa's redesign is so good.
It's really, really good. And I've seen an image of Red, like, and how they managed to make Red look as good as he does.
His voice actor's really good too. There's been a short snippet of him saying like, "Of course I can talk. What do you think I am?" And it's like, yeah, that's real good. Cloud's voice actor is good too. Like he in most Final Fantasy VII things, he's like this deadpan brooding guy. In the demo, he's really sarcastic in like a too cool for school way, and I think that's the difference that a lot of voice actors miss with Cloud, and I think it's really pretty.
Yeah, there's a couple jabs he throws at Barrett. And then he just shuts his eyes and he waits.
There's one
because they were in the elevator.
There's one really good line from Barrett where Barrett's like, "How old are you?" And Cloud's like, "Well, I'm first class." And he goes, "Not your class, your age, you swear word," because Barrett swears a lot in this. And Barrett goes, "Oh, okay, so I guess that your class is also your age, so I guess you're just a 1-year-old. Good to know. Thanks for letting me know." It's just like, Jesus, okay. Like there's so much more to this other than hit that button.
He always read as sarcastic as well. Like his lines always read as sarcastic. Yeah. I think if you want the deadpan one, you go to 8. Like,
yes,
we all know the deadpan serious person is the number 8 protagonist, and I love him.
I was excited for the remake, and I think now after playing it, looks like it works really well. The battle system is really fun. I think it'll get much cooler once you can start slotting materia and stuff, and I'm pumped.
Yeah. The only thing I've ever really been worried about is just what they're doing with the story, because they don't really. Even now, they're still releasing. Like they recently just announced that you won't be playing with Red 13. He's just going to be a guest character.
Yeah, he's not playable in the first part. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so how far into the story are you guys going, and are you making up? It's like, are you making up extra story in Midgar so that we haven't gotten to that point yet?
Or,
sure. Right.
And is that content any good?
Right.
Because we all know that JRPGs are famous for just throwing crap in there, and not all of it's great. So,
how many? So, do we think second Golden Saucer visit and then end of?
No, I think the ending cutscene of that game is them on the bridge, leaving Midgar, and that's the final scene. Is them being like, look at this giant world out there. Credits.
Yeah.
Like after the highway battle.
Yeah, the motorbike chase. And it's already come across. I had several people in the games industry talking with people who are expecting this to be the full game. Still.
I would love for it to come out and be like, surprise, we got you. It's 4 discs and it's a full thing. I genuinely don't think so. Because I think they would have sold
400-hour game.
Yeah, I think they would have sold it like that. I think they would have said, like, the original reveal would have been like, this is just part 1, and E3 last year would have been like, gotcha, suckers, it's the whole thing. You know, they would have pushed that.
If it does not say part 1 on the box by the time it comes out, how long till lawsuit in Europe?
A couple months at most.
Yeah. Whatever.
Yeah.
Moving on. The next game that I played after that was Nioh. I finished a side mission in that one, and I'm halfway through the second mission. The cool thing about this is that it has a mission structure where it feels like the missions are about a half hour, 45 minutes long.
Excuse me.
And then it kicks you back out to the world map. So I have it. You can save at these shrines that are in the game. I think you've got one at the start and then one just before the major boss.
I'm going to be right back. That sounds like there's something going on. Yeah, continue, please.
So I hit the shrine. There's a major boss coming. It feels like anyway, and I gave it a break because I was just really tired and did not feel like I could get any further in that game the way I was feeling.
Wait, so you don't want to play a Dark Souls game while you're tired?
I did, but I don't want to play a boss in a Dark Souls game while I'm tired. I was already having, because the second mission that you do, you're on a cliff face, so you're walking like these narrow paths, and I can't tell you how many, because I lost count of how many times I fell off the side of that stupid thing fighting things.
Yep, I do it all the time in Dark Souls games. Like the stupid skeletons in Dark Souls 1 in the dark areas, like every time.
And this game, you can guarantee that if you see an item that's just sitting there waiting for you to pick it up, it's an ambush. Like I've gotten
kicked in the back.
The cameras are so close that it's hard for you to look around corners. So I kind of have to jimmy it so that I can get the camera to come over far enough so I could figure out which corner the ambush is waiting on, so I can, block in that direction. And yeah, it's still a fun game. I really enjoy it so far. I'm sure I'm going to hit something that's going to make me furious, and then I won't touch the game again.
Probably. I mean, I know friend of the show, Mackie, really loves it, and he is a Dark Souls fan as well, at least the first Dark Souls. I'm pretty sure he was a huge fan of. He spoke way highly about that, and it's one of those games where it's like, I wish it was on the Xbox, because then I'd probably buy it and play it.
Well, that's the thing, is like I'm not the biggest Dark Souls fan to begin. I don't have an issue with the series. It's just anything that challenging, I don't care. But this one, for some reason, right now, is the same thing with Code Vein. Don't know why, but for some reason, those just seem to be grabbing me right now. I don't want to play a Dark Souls game.
I mean, sometimes you just need a good character action game, and while Dark Souls have a very measured pace, we will say, they're very measured, whereas then you get stuff like Code Vein, Nioh, the one that came out last year that I can never remember the name of. Everyone complained about its difficulty. Fast-paced ninjas.
Sekiro?
Similar. That's the one. Thank you.
Okay.
Like that is by all rights, that looks like just a solid character action game that just happens to be particularly punishing when it comes to death and stuff like that.
Sekiro looks like an awesome game just because of the verticality that you can get in that game. That looks like a Tenchu game.
That is 100% on my PS prices list already.
Yeah. I don't know if I would ever play it. I might get it dirt cheap for $20 one day, but I don't know if I'll play it.
I'll keep an eye on if I ever get the email alert from PS prices and it's like $20, I'll let you know.
Sweet. So the other games that I played after that, two of them kind of go hand in hand. I played Forza Horizon 3.
Okay, so you played the cross-generational Forza Horizon. Okay.
Yes.
How was that?
I still really enjoy that. got that for free when I bought my Xbox One forever ago. It was part of the bundle. And it gave me all the DLC as well. So I started the Mountain DLC, Blizzard Mountain or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's still pretty fun.
That's my favorite DLC in all Forza games that I've played. And for the record, I haven't played the Lego version, so I don't know if that's any good. But Blizzard Mountain is insanely fun because it's just like, here's a literal blizzard. You can't see more than 2 feet in front of you. Go.
Well, and that was the thing. One of the races, they'll tell you flat out before you even start a race that, hey, this has blizzard conditions. All right, cool. And they are not joking, where you're barely seeing past the hood of your car. You see a light that's supposed to indicate that, hey, this is the end of the track, or, you know, the side of the track, and you blow through that before you even register it's a light. So that's kind of a pain sometimes, especially when they start having you do the truck races, because you start out, it's just car rally, basically. And then eventually, as you get further into it, they start introducing the trucks and stuff. And I have the Warthog because I got that from what was that, some community thing that you could do or whatever?
Yeah, it was a community event like 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And everyone completed it, so everyone who ever plays the game now gets a Warthog for free.
Yeah, so I have the Warthog. We're talking about Horizon 3.
Okay. Sorry, everyone. I'm back. I had an incident involving, we have a 3-year-old. There's no impulse control, so apologies.
So I decided to use the Warthog in one of the races, and that thing does not have traction control for anything.
It's very accurate.
Yeah, which is fine because this one particular race, all the other drivatars were also driving Warthogs, so it was all 8 of us just sliding across the track trying to go straight.
If I'm right as well, I think in 3 you couldn't even put the snow tires on the Warthog either. I think they didn't let you do that until I think you couldn't do that until 4. I think in Horizon 4 you can put snow tires on it.
Yeah,
I don't remember if this one's set or not. It didn't have the snow icon on it like some of my other trucks did, so whatever. It made for a really interesting race with all of us just bouncing off of each other trying to get traction to go forward. But yeah, so I did a lot of that. I am on race, what is it, King of the Mountain race 3, and I think there's 5 or 6 of them altogether, maybe more. I'm like 21. I'm 21% on the DLC right now.
Yeah, King of the Mountain, there's like 15, 20 races total, I think. Yeah,
so I'm just bouncing around doing random crap on that one. After that, I started playing Forza Motorsport 6 because that was free one time. And I just figured, screw it. I kind of feel like playing a little bit of a racing game because I don't have.
Was this inspired by anything in particular?
It was no, it really wasn't. It's
I'm
the
playing
simple
F1
fact.
2019. Unrelated.
I'm in that weird phase where I don't feel like playing anything, and usually when that happens in the past, there would be a Ratchet and Clank game that would come out, so I would get it and play the hell out of it. Well, we haven't had a Ratchet and Clank game in forever, Insomniac.
Yeah.
So I'm just kind of bouncing around to a bunch of other things. So I had Motorsport 6 on here, turned that on, and funny story is that I chose to go with Volkswagen as my first model. So I could get, the credits and all that crap for it. And the second race was a hatchback? What do they call it? Hatchback something. I don't remember.
Hot hatchbacks or something like that? Hot hatches?
Yeah, something like that. And they would let you buy a 1988 Volkswagen Scirocco.
Okay.
Now, none of you know that my second car was a 1985 Wolfensburg Scirocco.
There you go.
And that bad boy was fast. Yeah. All the way until the front axle on it snapped in half.
So it was too fast.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's funny. So I bought it, and it handles actually really close to how I remember driving the thing. And it was a funny joke between me and my wife, because one day when my wife and I were driving back and forth between classes for college, the passenger seat broke. So she was forever sitting in the back bench like I was driving her around. So I loaded up the game, and it's got the Scirocco on my big screen, just in this display mode. And she's like, "That's hilarious." And then I took it for a drive, and you can, of course, you get the first-person view mode and all that. And I'm sitting there looking on the inside, and I knew it was going to be accurate, but it's still surprising to see that a car that I owned is in a racing game,
Right.
and it's 100% accurate.
Right.
So, and then come to find out, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's always the joy I've had seeing 1998 Ford Escorts back in the Gran Turismo days, and it's just dude, really solid looking car.
Yeah,
and it's literally it's a family van.
Yeah,
cool.
Well, and then I found out that as I continued racing, I got to upgrade to, because that was a D grade for those races. So then I had to upgrade to a B grade for the following 3 races or whatever that I had to do. And that's when I found out that apparently Volkswagen continued to make Scirocco's again in 2010, going all the way up to 2014, I think it was.
Oh, wow.
So I have a 2011 Volkswagen Scirocco now that I'm driving in this game.
Yeah.
So is this just going to be the Scirocco family?
Yeah.
Every class have that one same vehicle for every single class?
If they keep giving it to me, I will keep buying it, because I really loved that car.
Hypercar Scirocco. And here is my X-Class Scirocco.
Well, and no joke, that car, I should not have been able to fit into that car. Because when I stood next to it, I think the roof of that car probably came just below my chest.
Yep.
So, but that seat, I could move that seat so far back, and it was a manual. So I could move that seat so far back and have plenty of leg room. My head would still bang up on the ceiling, but... God, I loved that car. I actually started looking on Craigslist to see if there were any Scirocco's for sale around here.
Yeah.
Is that by any chance because you're fed up of rough idling and delayed shifting?
I actually told my wife, because I looked up to see if there were any newer model Scirocco's around here, and there's currently a 2014 that's around here that's for sale. And I told my wife, if this truck bites it, stuff's going down, and I'm getting the Scirocco.
Right. I know my next car.
Yeah. So after that, I played Kingdom Come Deliverance. Streamed a little bit of, I streamed a little bit of it Friday. I got out of the castle. I had to jump. They keep saying that you went into a moat. You don't really. You jump off of this really tiny bridge that's just over some rocks, and then you have to make a run for it because they sound an alarm saying that the prisoner gets away. You're not a prisoner, really. It's just the Lord is keeping you there because you're stupid and you're injured. And the Lord is right. Your character's got so much dumb tunnel vision about wanting to bury his parents in the town that he used to live in that had been overrun by an entire army. But in his one-track little mind, he's going to be the one that's going back there to bury his parents.
So not a prisoner, just a warden of the state.
He's an idiot. So once you get out of the castle, there are guards that are just patrolling the village like they normally do, and so they sound an alarm letting them know, hey, this guy's out, bring him back because he's an idiot. And I ran into one. I got to give him a sob story. I managed to pass a persuasion check, basically, where the guy would be like, all right, I'm just going to say that I twisted my ankle. You keep running. So, all right, cool. So I do that, run past him, look behind me. All of a sudden, there's a different guard chasing me. I'm like, oh, crap. Hightail it out of there. I was supposed to... There was an optional thing for this quest where you could find a horse. Couldn't find where any of the horses were. So I spent half an hour running around this village looking for my horse. I'm whistling. Guards are chasing me. And finally just say, screw it. I got to run all the way across the map. No.
If you don't want the guards to chase you, stop whistling.
That's the problem, is that for me, I know that this guy is an idiot, so I don't care if I get caught. Really, they should have just locked him up. Yeah. So eventually, without my horse, I get back across the map. It does this little cutscene fast travel thing, so I really didn't have to run all the way across this map because it would have taken forever. And you get to the village, and a bunch of stuff happens, but basically, you get the crap beat out of you because you're an idiot. And you still don't get to bury your parents. Somebody else had to bury them for you because you're an idiot.
Right.
So then they do this whole cutscene into the future, and they do, you know, title drop and all this stuff, and they show you sights and sounds and all that stuff. And this game has some really good music and really good sound effects in it. The birds, just listening to the wind go through the grass, water, all sounds really awesome. The music, when I left it on the pause or for the title screen for a while, the music that plays, really awesome. But they bring you into this little house, and you wake up, and basically this woman who was part of your village brought you to her uncle's because you got the crap beat out of you because you're an idiot.
Right.
And it says like 2 weeks later or whatever, you're healed, kind of, you're ready to go. Her uncle is mad that you're here because he didn't want you there, and now you have to pay off like basically your medical bills. So in order to pay him off, he gives you a job to steal a ring from an executioner. All right, cool. Managed to do that after some trial and error. Go back to my bed so that he can go to sleep, so that he can save, and then the game crashes.
Of course.
Fantastic.
So I only lost, I think, like a half hour, 45 minutes on that one. But now that I know what to do, it's going to go a lot faster. But yeah, I can't get over how dumb your character is. Like, I kind of hate playing as this character.
Yeah.
Anytime he opens his mouth, I'm just like, shut up.
You're naturally playing a low intelligence build.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all fun and good. I'm going to pick it up again here and probably later on this week, just because I want to redo, because the funny thing was with trying to get this ring from this executioner was that you're supposed to lockpick. And I'm playing with the Xbox One controller plugged into my PC, and you have to hold down. I think it's the left bumper, so that you can turn the lock around counterclockwise. And you have to have like this ball in a certain location on that, and you have to follow it. Like that ball has to move with the lock at a certain point, so that way it unlocks.
Right.
It doesn't work well with controllers. Like you're supposed to be able to feather the lock a little bit so you know it slowly moves. No, this is on off. So either it's moving or it's not. So I broke that lock, and I was trying to find a place where I could buy lock picks. I can't get into any of the towns. I don't have any money. And eventually I was like, all right, screw it. I guess I'm going to have to kill this guy to get his key to open this trunk so I can get this ring. And the guy happened to lay down for a nap or something, so I snuck into his room, held my hand over his face, and just knocked him out.
I was waiting for the stabby McStabby when you said held your hand over his face.
Yeah. Well, no, because at this point you don't have any of your weapons or anything, which I found out I could have had them again if I had looked in one trunk, but it seemed like at this point they had taken all your stuff away from you. So I'm running around buck naked through the wild trying to steal this ring from this executioner. But yeah, I mean, it gave me the option of killing him or just making him, you know, just knocking him out. It's like, all right, let's just knock him out. And the guy struggles a little bit, and I found myself just going, shh, 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 shh.
Sleep.
So,
sleep.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see what other dumb stuff this game is going to let me do or not do. Because it's fine when I do it. It's not fine when the idiot character wants to do it.
Right.
The last game that I played this week was No Man's Sky with my son.
Did you get your egg ship?
No, screw that egg ship.
Not worth it.
Yeah. Eventually I will get to it. So the problem we ran into now is I figured with my son and I, we'll go into the community area. We'll both start this mission. That way we both can rack up, you know, everything going towards this. We can get Quicksilver is what we're trying to get right now. We can't get into the same community instance, even though we are in the same game with each other.
Weird.
And apparently this is a known issue. And I had also read that even if you do manage to get into the same community center, there's a possibility that when you leave, you will not be leaving, or you will not enter the same instance. So you'll both be in your own instance of the game. So, after about 15-20 minutes of us trying to figure out how to get into the same community area, we gave up.
Yeah, I think that's the best course of action. Is, you know what? Never mind.
Yeah. So we both kind of did our own thing. I managed to, one of the missions I was supposed to do was go find a black hole and just fly into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, can't wait to see how this goes.
Oh, they look so cool.
They do, but they're using it as black holes are apparently warp points now. So it shot me clear across the galaxy to a different place now.
Yeah, it sends you very far away.
Yeah, which is fine because every system that you go into has a space station, and every space station has a portal. So if you use that portal once, you can always go back to it. So
right.
Yeah, so I went to the space station, jumped in the portal, went back to my main base, and then portaled back over to where I was at so that I could fly through the black hole, and then did the same thing at the other one. And now my game mission is, go explore.
Thanks.
Okay, that's what I was doing in the one system that I've stayed in for the last 40 hours.
Right,
so.
That was my plan.
Yep.
Yeah, so now I'm just kind of flying around. I don't really have, I guess, anything, a goal that I'm working towards right now. I've kind of just been doing whatever quest it's been throwing at me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that it's just go explore, I'm like, well, now I'll just go back to my home system and just build my base again until something happens.
Right.
That's pretty much all I've been doing. My son and I ran around. I was running low on resources, so I started digging around with that stuff. My son decided to blow up a bunch of things, and that brought my allegiance down with a couple other people who I don't know because I haven't met them yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Sounds like fun.
So someone's like, you can't just shoot pirates. Why does it have to be anything that moves in this game?
Right. Pirates will attack you, shoot them, not anything else.
So right now we're just flying around, apparently just shooting whatever. It's the Wild West.
Yeah.
He's having fun, so it works out for me, I guess. So that's all I've been playing this week.
All right, for me, Division 2, the title update 8 and the Warlords of New York expansion is out.
Loot 2.0?
Yes, Loot 2.0 is out, which I'll talk about that first, and then I'll talk about Warlords next. Loot 2.0 is really cool. The game does such a better job now of telling you what gear is good and what gear is bad, and very clearly telling you what the roles are on the gear that you have picked up. They've changed it, so before you could have 2 or 3 mod slots on a piece of gear, and maybe the gear wouldn't have a lot of stats on it, but it had a whole bunch of mod slots. That's largely changed as well. Every piece of gear will have 3 stats, kind of a primary stat and then 2 secondary stats. This is sort of separate from the talent, the skill that's on the weapon. If it will have a mod slot, it will have 1. So you're sort of the whole thing is kind of encouraging you to use the gear you have and then kind of modify it in a way that I'll talk about here in a second. I think Loot 2.0 overall, for me, has largely been a success. I know the community is a little bit cool on it because a lot of purples are dropping right now as opposed to the yellow items that you really want. But I think overall it has largely been successful because of the changes they made to the recalibration station, which is still an incredibly fun phrase to say.
I still love that from the first division, just walking upstairs and seeing it's the recalibration station, of course.
Yeah. So there's 2 halves of it now. How the recalibration station used to work is you'd have a gun that had a nearly perfect roll on it, but let's say you wanted to replace headshot damage on it. You have another gun with a skill or a stat that you wanted to put on your first gun. You would basically destroy the first gun to put that skill or talent or whatever on the gun you really wanted to keep. They've done away with that system. What you have now is the recalibration library. This is the thing that I want every loot game to steal. Because what happens now is, for every type of gear and every type of weapon, you have 3 categories. It's like core talents, skills, and sort of attributes. And what you're doing is you're finding and extracting skills and values from the gun, from any gun and any piece of gear, to store in your library. So, for example, I like assault rifles a lot. So one of the main...
It's the best gun.
What's that?
Damn right, it's the best gun.
Well, assault
I
rifles...
haven't found any good ones at all.
Yeah, assault rifles are maybe not in the best spot right now. That seems like they're doing a little bit less damage than intended. There have been some bugs with this expansion. So one of the primary stats on, or the primary stat on assault rifles is assault rifle damage. And there's a bar that goes from 0% to 15%. And this is additional damage you're doing on top of just the regular DPS the gun has on top of it.
Interesting.
So what you're doing now, and that there's like that primary stat, and then there's 2 other stats, and then a talent usually. So it's kind of the same. The gear functions the same way it has before. What the recalibration library does now is if you find a gun that has a god roll value for assault rifle damage, like let's say it's 15% and it's maxed out, you want to destroy that gun and pull that 15% value and put it in your library. So let's say you get another assault rifle you love, and every stat on it is perfect, but that assault rifle damage is 3%. Like, it's just garbage. You can replace that assault rifle value, that 3%, with the 15% from your library for materials and money, and you have recalibrated your gun, and that 15% value stays in your library permanently.
Thanks.
Sweet.
Goodness.
So what this does
It's
now...
similar to what they did with the mods, like the way they did the mods, where it's like, you've unlocked this mod, now you have it for everything.
Yeah, like
Craft
your attachments for
done.
your gun. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that actually confused me for a minute when I had... What was it? It was a... Oh, it was a grip that I had gotten for one weapon.
Yeah.
And it really confused me when I threw it on one weapon. It's like, oh, hey, you still have this other grip that you can put on the other weapon.
Right.
I only made one.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting because now, almost while you're building your library, which I've built maybe like 15% of the possible values in this library, every piece of loot that drops is potentially valuable, even if it's a purple, even if it's a blue, because
even if it's a grey, if it's got the best tier it can for that, then you can just slot it all off.
Yeah, you can extract that value, put it in your library, and then apply it. And for anyone that's probably asking the question of like, well, how do you not just make every gun you have super powered? You can only recalibrate one thing on a gun. So if I recalibrate assault rifle damage, the gun locks. If I can recalibrate that value again, but I can't do that and a talent and a mod slot. I can't do multiple things. I can only do the one thing. So
it takes a really good piece of gear to a whole nother level when you take that one big negative off it and then put something positive in its place.
It's the thing you get in a lot of loot games like Destiny 2, where it's like, oh, I got this great drop for this gun, but the magazine slot is garbage and everything else is perfect. I wish I could just...
I can fire 3 bullets.
Yeah, and it's just like, this isn't useful. The great part about this is not only am I like scooping up 75 pieces of gear and then going to the recalibration station and like pulling out all these cool values, but it means that a really close to perfect roll can be a perfect roll for your build with just some materials and the recalibration station. So super, super cool. I think that is a huge change for this game. That I think between Loop 2.0 and the new recalibration station, I think both of those are super, super cool. They have done away with gear score and world tiers now, though. When you hit level 40, all gear is level 40, and it's kind of that's the difficulty. You can now, instead of world tiers, you can now change the difficulty of the open world. So open world can be like normal, heroic, challenging, legendary, whenever that comes out. And you can...
that's how they did the world tiers in Division 1.
Oh,
because it didn't have the whole thing where you had to go through the story to up the world tier.
Right.
What happened was once you hit the level cap, you could just go into the world map and be like, okay, now I want it world tier 1, now 2, now 3, now 5, now 6, now 7.
Gotcha.
It's very much similar to the Diablo Torment difficulties, where it's like once you're geared for the next difficulty, you move on to the next difficulty, then the next one, and the next one.
That's smart.
And from what I understand as well, didn't they also basically introduce whatever it was from Diablo 3 as well here?
So we'll get to that in a second. But the other thing they've done to the open world, they've put directives in the game. I think there's 5 or 6 of them. And basically it's like they're optional challenge modifiers you can put on, where it's like Fog of War, there's no mini-map and no incoming fire or notification, or there's no health regen or less ammo drops. Every one of those you put on, you get an extra 25% XP. So you can...
that's...
It's a lot.
Yeah, that's also pulling from the Underground DLC from Division 1.
Yes.
The directives are literally what they did there.
And what's really interesting, it's not working right now. There seems to be a bug with it, is control points don't get recaptured anymore. So you can capture the entirety of the map. This isn't working, but how it's supposed to do is when you change difficulties on the world map, all of those are supposed to go red again. So you can go and recapture all of them on a harder difficulty. And now you can, before it was, oh, here's a control point, I'm going to attack supply routes to that control point and up the difficulty of the control point. You can still do that, or every time you increase the difficulty, they start at, like if you put the game on challenging, every control point starts at level 3. So there you can kind of choose your own difficulty at this point. It is really interesting that you did bring up Diablo 3, because the Paragon system in Diablo 3, they just lifted that and put that as shade levels in the Division 2. When you finish the storyline, no spoilers yet, you get a different watch on your wrist, and that is what is your new shade levels. And it's very much like, here's a point in the red column, and you can choose like weapon damage or crit chance or crit damage. There's like 4 options for each of the 4 categories. And you put a point in there and it goes up by 0.02%. And there's a whole bunch, like there's just hundreds of points you can put in each and every one. And like the very last one is put a point and get materials or currency out. So it's like you put a point in there and you can get some of the crafting materials are like 10,000 E-credits. So they lifted that system, which is great.
So they're literally throwing shade?
Yeah. So I think all of that stuff is really good. The new season hasn't started yet. That's going to be starting this upcoming week, because they wanted everyone to get... The thing with the DLC is when you start Warlords of New York, you are stuck in New York City until you finish it. The game tells you that beforehand, so it's not a surprise. So they're waiting for people to hit level 40, get geared up a little bit, finish the DLC, sort of do the whole thing before the season starts. And the big thing that they're introducing over the season, they have a season pass and they have 2 tracks. And if you bought Warlords of New York, you have the premium, the standard thing that all these games do now.
Yep.
The additional thing that they're doing is they're going to have a new manhunt in the big thing in the New York DLC is take out these 4 lieutenants from Keener and then go take him out. And they're introducing that.
Similar to a deck of 52, one might say.
Sort of, yes. There is a new card deck in this game. They went with the various Arcana for the new cards. They're going to do that in DC with, like, every week there will be a new lieutenant, and then the last week, or it's like every other week, the last one will be the big person, and then you'll get a new agent skill when you beat the final person. So sounds pretty cool. Sounds like a cool season that they're coming up. You also get 2 complete gear sets by going through the season pass, which seems pretty cool. One of them is the Striker set that's coming back from Division 1, which apparently was like the set for PvE.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. And they're also putting out a PvP set, like anyone cares about that in the Division.
You would be surprised at the trolls in the Dark Zone.
No, I'm talking about like pure PvP, like Conflict, like the PvP mode, not just Dark Zone. Like, weird. Warlords in New York. So they have like they did with DC, they 1-to-1 mapped the lower portion of Manhattan.
Downtown rather than uptown.
Right. It is a very dense map. It's really interesting because it's so different from DC, because DC has like these big, wide open streets and all this stuff. Manhattan has these really narrow sidewalks and walkways and streets, so it's a much more confined location. As a result, they've built a lot of verticality into the map. You can spend a ton of time going between roofs and climbing stuff, and there's some more underground. There's a lot more underground stuff, which makes more sense in New York City. All of that stuff is really great. Not crazy about kind of half of the boss battles of Keener's lieutenants. They do this thing where it's like, here are the 4 lieutenants. Go do whichever ones you want. It's freeform. So as a result, story isn't really that great. Story's not Division's strongest point to begin with, so not super surprising.
Don't you dare tell me that the dollar flu doesn't matter.
The dollar flu matters, the green poison. And I thought by revisiting Aaron Keener, they were going to kind of ramp up some of the storytelling that I think from the stuff I've seen and read from Division 1, they did a little bit better than the base game of Division 2, which had a story I could not... with a gun to my head, I would have no idea what to tell you about.
You go to a location and you shoot something.
That's right. They tell me what to shoot, and yeah.
I will not spoil the story for Division 2. Yeah. I will not do it because there are people...
It's because you can't, because there isn't a story.
No, I can tell you exactly what the big reveal is towards the end of the game, but we have some people in chat who may not have beat the game yet.
There's some cool stuff, especially in the DLC where they deal with the president. To not spoil anything, I think they do some cool stuff with like the post game, because I think they heard people saying like, "Hey, I completed this game and I kind of don't know what's going on." So I feel like some of the lieutenant stuff falls a little bit flat. What I really, really want the Division to do, and I don't know if they'll ever get there, is to do a better job at questioning, am I a good guy as part of the Division, or are the rogues... do the rogues have something? You know, are Aaron Keener's followers... do they have something there? Is their ethos interesting? And they so far haven't really done that, other than, we're the good guys, rah, rah, rah. Those are the bad guys. You know, their cell's been activated. So... small, non-story spoilers here. I want to talk about how hot garbage the final boss battle is. So, if anyone wants to not hear mechanical spoilers, skip over a little bit. I will absolutely not spoil the story at the end of this, because it's a huge, massive, lore-changing bomb that even I was like, oh, snaps, you did that? Okay. You genuinely fight against Aaron Keener at the end, which is great. I thought they were going to do like a poof, smoke bomb. Oh, he's gone. Oh no, where did he go?
Giant mech.
Yeah, like, he got us again. He left. You genuinely fight against Aaron Keener. The problem, I've heavily invested in a skill build. I have my healing drone. I have my assault turret. Between that, we're kind of a 3-man team doing some work. that goes out the window almost immediately with the Keener fight, because he hacks your equipment. So my drone floats on over to him, starts repairing his armor, which sucks. My turret turns back on me and starts destroying me. And at that point, I had skill tier 6. So my drone and my turret have about 300% extra health and do about 400% extra damage. I'm getting destroyed, and I can't destroy those things.
Now you know how they feel.
Right. I don't feel that badly for like the Rikers, especially because they suck. So the problem is, you can pull out like your pulse drone and sort of push back on some of the stuff he's doing, but I can't use the skills that I have built my entire character around. I'm not super strong at shooting guns because I'm super strong at skills. And that made that fight really terrible. And of course, I had the specialization that's just the stupid crossbow, so I can't even like light him up with like super powered precision like pinnacle weapons. It was really bad, and I got him to the point where I defeated him, and he was like doing this runaway thing to like lead into a cutscene. A flame turret of his destroyed me as it was like clicking over into him escaping, like the final phase, and killed me. Like I'd finished the fight and it had killed me when he like EMP pulses you and you can't move, and I just have this thing like right in my face and murdered me. I was like, I swear to God.
Did you have to beat the fight again, or did it
100%.
take over?
It took me 2.5 hours to beat this one fight over probably 15 to 20 attempts.
Jeez.
It was horrible. And I'm sure if you're playing this on PC, the tiny little firebombing drones that he's sending your way, probably not really a problem. Or like the seeking drone missile bombs that he's sending you are not a problem. On consoles, it's a lot harder to hit these tiny little super armored yellow health bar drones. So I really loved everything else in this game except for that really bad fight. So sort of end spoilers there. I'm really enjoying The Division 2 again. The community feels very differently. The community sentiment is, oh God, we've gone back to 1.3 in Division 1. Oh, holy Christ, what have you done? I don't think it's that bad. There's some hyperbole there, but I think there's a lot of problems with enemy health scaling that's happening right now, especially if you're in 4-person party where the game is like really scaling the difficulty up. A lot of people, the Division 2 in Title Update 6 and 7 had a problem where you could just turn yourself into an unstoppable death tank and just solo challenging like the highest difficulty stuff by yourself, not even taking cover. Like you're just...
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was really fun, but you're just ramboing through these dudes and just like, yellow health bar enemy, whatever, and he's dead. You know, just...
Hey. They drew blood fast.
That's right. I was having a lot of fun with the game, but I can understand from a longevity standpoint, they removed the damage to elites stat that's no longer in the game. Because people were like stacking up to extra 55% damage to elites and just chewing through them faster than purple health bar enemies. Like it was just no challenge. So there's an understandable community pushback on, hey, this game used to be super fun for 4 people or solo people or whatever, and now we feel like we're getting punished. I feel like there's a good middle ground there that maybe Massive is going to find over time, but maybe the community can kind of take a breath here for a little bit. You're acting a lot like the Destiny 2 community right now. That's not a good look. So like let's all take a breath. It's only been out for like 5 days. Let's all chill out. I'm having a lot of fun with Division 2. I'm happy I'm back at it again. It's so much fun to shoot guns in that game that I just have fun coming back to that game and being like, yeah, this game feels good to play. The moment-to-moment gunplay just feels really great. Sad news for Division 2, though. Destiny 2's new season starts on Tuesday, so...
Well,
sorry.
If Destiny 2's new season starts on Tuesday, where does that leave Fortnite?
In the dust. There can only be 2, and they both have 2 in the name. So,
and they both start with a D.
That's right. Too Fast, Too Furious. Division 2, Destiny 2. Yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I feel like Gaming Rich in chat says spent all last weekend playing Division 2, best $3 I've ever spent. Yeah, man. Like if you're coming into what the community is calling itself the $3 wave of agents, you're getting a really great game that's in a pretty good spot right now. And Warlords in New York is pretty good, and it's only like $30. So 2 thumbs up. Last game that I've been playing, wanted to talk really quickly about Murder by Numbers.
Yes, the most Boston game that ever Bostoned.
God, they just made it for me, man. It very much is Phoenix Wright plus Picross. And you're getting a whole bunch of characters talking to each other, like visual novel style, and then every once in a while, so your character Honor, she finds this robot called Scout, and he is having problems with like his camera. So how you do in your investigations is he looks around the room with this reticle. When the reticle turns red, you hit the A button and it says, hey, I found something. And a nonogram Picross puzzle comes up. And
God,
the solution to the Picross puzzle, the picture you make, is the clue he's found.
Okay.
So like you do this whole thing and it's like it pops up and it's like you found a wallet, and then Honor Scout goes, oh, this must be the killer's wallet, whatever. And it's like it's this really cool back and forth of here's the Phoenix Wright interrogation and presenting evidence and trying to figure out a puzzle, and then hey, I think I found something, and you do a nonogram Picross thing.
Oh jeez.
It has a pretty good tutorial for Picross stuff if you've never played it. The puzzles feel like they have a pretty good difficulty. The writing is really good. The music is outstanding. The character design is great. Like it's a really great looking game, and it somehow managed to smush together 2 subgenres that I really like. Like the Phoenix Wright subgenre of visual novels, and then the Picross subgenre of puzzle games, and it's really good. I'm probably about halfway through the first case right now. It looks like there's 4 cases, and Murder by Numbers is really good. But
Game Pass when?
Xbox One when, PS4 when. It's on Switch and PC right now, which of course it is because that's where games go to be sold.
Yep.
And apparently it's doing very well, so I'm very proud of that team for getting it out there. But yeah, Murder by Numbers, not a lot to say about it right now other than it is the thing it said it was going to be, and it's doing that thing really well. So that's all I'm playing this week. Let's take a break.
Yep. All right, I'll be back. I gotta save my wife from something real quick.
Okay.
Yeah, I gotta pee like a mofo.
Okay. I'll sit here and talk to chat. Hi, chat. How's everyone doing? We're gonna look at news stories here too. Pokemon Mystery Dungeons DX getting an invitation to enter the mysterious rooms and dungeons. Ooh. Inside the Lynchian reality of cribbage with grandpas? What? Skip that one. Oh, there's a lot of really good games coming out this week. A new character for Dead or Alive 6. Tamaki? Who is that? Oh, she was in Dare Live Extreme Venus Vacation. That is not... I don't even think that game came out here. Gaming Rich says, good studying for the A+ exam. Good luck. That's I know a lot of people like to say, like, oh, the exam's so easy. It's so... I mean, it's a good... You should be studying. It's not... You know, I don't have A+, but... you know, I know a lot of people have taken it, and it's a very good certification to have, and it's a very good... like your first step into getting a whole bunch of other certs. So, good luck. That's a good cert to have. Disc Room. Oh yeah, I guess I didn't realize the team who made Minute is making Disc Room. Hello there, Joel P. How's it going? Legend Heroes Trails of Cold Steel 3 gets demo on the Switch. Nothing else there. Okay. Not a lot of news stories right now. God, it's so hot in here. Really curious to see when we're gonna get some PS5 news, Sony. Making my way through Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I love Black Flag so much. I feel like that's getting kind of ignored in the Assassin's Creed pantheon of games, and it's one of my favorite ones. There's so much to love about that game. It's maybe not as good as some of the other stuff, but man, just sailing in that game is really great.
I think I got that in their PC store.
Oh yeah,
Ubisoft. I never got around to playing it just because my original PC, before I changed the graphics card, could not handle it.
Yeah, I almost wonder, like,
a shot.
After Odyssey and Origins, like, do you really want to go back to like a original series Assassin's Creed game?
No, is the answer to that. Yeah. Always no.
Well, weren't they supposed to be working on a Viking one or something?
That's the rumor. Yeah, rumor's the... What was the code name for it?
I can't even remember. Also, Boston, how did you not mention this?
I can't see. Is there a cat on here?
Yep, she snuck in while I was in the bathroom.
Oh.
Also, I apologize for random interruptions of your talk. New Apex event came out today or yesterday. I have sent you a link in chat on Skype to Pathfinder's new skin. You need to see it.
Okay. Apologies to everyone in the live stream here. Let's hopefully there's nothing else in. Okay, hold on. The name alone is really great. Let me try and get this on stream, everyone. Oh, I can't get it on stream.
Do you want me to put it on my screen and then just do a screen share?
No, I can do... Everyone's going to see a little bit here behind the scenes. See if I'm... Oh, it might have gone dark. Sorry, everyone. Hold on. I'm going to do... Nope. 1 second. It's going poorly.
Hey, I just had Skype drop on me, so...
Yeah.
Yep.
There you go. The Plastic Fantastic skin.
Yep.
That's really good.
It looks exactly like Soundwave.
Yes.
Nice.
Okay, my kid is starting to yell downstairs again, so we need to wrap this up. Are you guys ready?
Yep.
Alright, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's talk releases the week of March 9th, 2020. Ori and the Will of the Wisps comes out on Xbox One and PC. Game Pass day and date on both. I cannot wait to play this. The first one is really good, and I want to see... I've paid attention to almost none of this game, because an Ori sequel is enough to get me in anyway.
Do you want very minor spoilers?
Sure.
It turns out they played Hollow Knight.
Oh, no. Great. Game of the year coming in next week. I'm very curious to see how they evolve the Ori game and find a new way to just tear my heart out. So we'll find out here pretty soon. Nioh 2 comes out on the PS4. If you've been interested in this game, they've released about 14 demos, so you probably have a good idea of what this game is by this point.
Yeah, a Twitter account I recently learned about and started following called Scrub Quotes. When the last demo came out with the ridiculously hard boss, was full of quotes from people complaining about that demo. So
great. It's a Nioh sequel. And lastly, My Hero 1's Justice 2 comes out for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. This is an arena-based fighter based on My Hero Academia. So, bunch of stuff I know nothing about. But it's
anime.
First news story here, Riot's Project A is finally unveiled as Valorant. If you remember, like a year ago, 18 months ago, Riot was like, here's a cool news story. We're working on 23 games. It's like, with the what? So like the first one they really pitched was Project A, which they said was going to be a stylish, competitive, character-based tactical shooter for PC, and we all went, oh yeah, Overwatch.
Okay. Overwatch.
Yeah, cool. What it turns out to be is a 5v5 Counter-Strike with powers. Like,
oh, so Siege.
No, like actual Counter-Strike. Like if you watch the trailer, you go, cool, that's just, someone just made actual Counter-Strike, like pull out the knife to run faster, buy guns between rounds, like guns look and function exactly the same, and then someone throws up a wall of fire. And it's like, oh, so Counter-Strike with powers somehow? Like actual, potentially litigious Counter-Strike?
Counterwatch. Or
Perfect.
Overstrike.
Counterwatch. Yeah. So, really interesting, because I think if anyone can sell a new Counter-Strike, it's probably Riot, which is a really weird thing to say in 2020, since Valve hasn't wanted to make games for the longest time. And yes, I'm ignoring Artifact.
Or the new Half-Life game.
Yeah, well, that one's VR, so it's... None of us are going to be able to play it.
Is that right? Is that what I'm hearing? VR doesn't count from Boston over there?
That's right. VR doesn't count. Garbage tech of 2020. No, I will enjoy watching someone play that because I can't afford. My wife the other day was like, hey, I really want to play Beat Saber. And it's like, yeah, man, I would love to too, but PSVRs are like $300 right now, so... Sorry.
What did we agree? Our sweet spot was like $50.
Yeah. I could even be talked into 100 because there's enough titles now at this point that would probably be okay. But the PS5 is right around the corner.
Normally I would say yes, up to 100, but it's 2020 and we all know what drops later this year.
We are locking down spending on not that much, but a PSVR is probably not going to make the cut. Yeah. And last news story here, Ghost of Tsushima gets a release date. It is releasing for the PS4, June 26th, 2020. I think I got a prediction wrong. I feel like one of my predictions last year was like, Ghost of Tsushima, that's coming out on PS5. Like, that's a PS5 launch title.
Oh, it'll be a PS5 launch title. Right. Or it will also be a PS4
Game of the Year Gold Edition, $60 more. Yeah, I don't know. Like this, I think Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2 or Chapter 2, whatever. I think those are going to be really interesting litmus tests for Sony, because Microsoft had come out and said, we have smart delivery. Anything that comes out for the Xbox One, that publishers and Microsoft is committing to all of their first-party titles doing this, they're going to get a patch for your Series X, and they're going to look dope. And that patch is going to be free. And CD Projekt Red
whichever platform you're on, we'll deliver you the right goods for that, which they do right now with the Series X.
Yep.
Like, there was a discussion between a friend of ours, Charlie, and my wife, where my wife, Sea of Thieves updated, and Charlie was like, oh, it's only 13 gig, that's no big deal. He has an Xbox One. We have an X. Our update was 45 gigs.
Right. And I think Microsoft is really showing their cards pretty early, saying like, and CD Projekt Red the same day was like, hey man, we're not putting out a Series X version of Cyberpunk 2077. You just buy the Xbox One version, and we're just going to put out a patch for it on on Series X for free. I think that's really great. I think between Microsoft's sort of 1-2 punch of everything is backwards compatible we've ever put out digitally, smart delivery, plus Game Pass, like all our powers combined, that's really great. I think when you look at Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us 2, your natural inclination is like, yes, but in 3 or 4 months, the next thing is out, so
look at what they did with The Last of Us. Last of Us, the first Last of Us, was a late-gen PS3 game.
Yeah.
And they resold it to you on the 4.
Yep, just a couple years later, ready to play it. And I think if Sony really wants to, number one, Sony wants to say anything about the PS5, that would be great, especially for content in the show, because it's a thin year. I think if they want to talk about backwards compatibility...
Wait. It's a thin year. Do you not have 600 games installed?
No, for news. News is a lot of like, conferences are canceled and the Xbox Series X looks dope. See you later. But I think if Sony really wants to push backwards compatibility and wants to push some of this stuff, we've been talking about it for a while, like Rainbow Six Siege and Fortnite. Those are probably going to be carried over. Where Fortnite's day one, we've got a big patch, whatever. I want to see Ghost of Tsushima and I want to see Last of Us Part 2, Chapter 2, the sequeling. That running on a PS5 day one, where it's like, take your disc out, put it in your PS5, it runs. Download it again on your PS5. Hey, it looks better, runs smoother, 4K, whatever, 120 frames. I think if you want to really push the PS5 from a game and software standpoint, I think these are two really solid titles to do it. And we just need to wait for them to say anything at all about the console at any point. Sony. Let's move on to questions. I'm running out of time. We'll just do one question here from Spencer K on Facebook from a week ago. So the timeline is important. It says, question for this week that's kind of tongue-in-cheek, but Moon might appreciate it. Is he happy Orange Cassidy tried last night?
Yes. 1,000%.
Did Orange Cassidy try?
He did. OC... For those of you who don't know, go listen to pre-show stuff to learn all about Orange Cassidy, or just Google the fella. Enjoy the deep dive down that rabbit hole.
Our favorite
He's now
wrestler.
in AEW, and his first singles match was against Pac, who previously known as Neville in WWE, who is one of the most serious wrestlers you will ever meet.
Okay.
Like, character-wise, very serious.
Gotcha.
No nonsense, no BS kind of person. And from everything I've heard and all of the highlight reels I've seen, it seems like they put on a really, really good match, which shows that comedy does make money.
That's right. And so does laziness.
And yes, so does laziness. He is apathetic, he's not lazy.
That's true. Yes. He just doesn't want to overexert himself. Yeah.
And he did the thumbs up and everything, and I still love it when he gets on the top rope and he does the 450 spinning hand motion and then he just falls off the top rope. It's great.
He's great. Go Google Orange Cassidy, watch some matches. It's really great. All right, that's our episode this week at tvgp.tv. Everywhere to find and follow us on the right-hand side of the page. Patreon.com/E1M1, the ones are numbers. Game Club is still going strong. This month is another 15-week month, so who knows how... We've got about 2 weeks left to play Stardew Valley. Musum asked a really important question in Discord the other day, and I think this is worth talking about. For anyone that's worried about Stardew Valley, he was worried about starting it and missing stuff. There's really nothing you can miss in Stardew Valley. And if you miss anything in like the first 2 years... stuff kind of starts repeating come year 3. So take your time, do what you want, make mistakes on your farm. It's all part of living that farm life, man. #farm life. So go play Stardew Valley. It's on something you own. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. We roguelike it. We'll be starting a brand new game here on the public feed this coming week. It's a video game that has roguelike elements in it. It's been a trip. It's been a trip.
This week on the public feed?
Yeah.
We were still like 2 weeks out?
We should... Well, maybe it's another week. Keep an eye out for our next one. It's
something will drop sometime.
Yeah, if you're a patron, you're already taking the voyage with us. But
I hate you so much.
I know.
So much. Dude, Solitarica episode 3 came out last Wednesday, so this week coming up it's Solitarica episode 4.
And most importantly, the Council of Science returns. Scientists. Science. Alright. I'm getting weird. That's the end of our episode. See you all next week.
Getting?
I've been weird. Getting weirder.
Always, dude.
That's right. Nimp, your titles, please.
Alright. What's a moodlets? Your Sim Podcasts. I Know I Won't Be Special. Real Life, quote unquote. Headcanon. Don't Be Better Than Me. Depression of My Own Making.
That one's really good, but might be a little too dark.
Oh, come on.
3-word, fourth word, home word. Interesting, or hang on, Boston, interesting. Moon, no it's not. Charm with the Calm. I Hate You, Calming Towel. All the Way to Karaoke. Beat Down, Shakedown. And Recalibration Station.
Yeah, it's so much fun to say.
2 from the chat there. They can be only 2 and passed a persuasion check.
Alright, Moon, you?
That Devil, Daylight Savings, or 1. Conceptually, because I said that word a lot and once exactly like that. What Happened to the Sims? Moodlets, question mark. Holly Original. Shirts Torn Off. Great and Stupid and Insane. Sorry, My Fault. Gonna Get Kicked in the Back. Trying to Get Traction. Could be a Formula 1 thing, but it's not. Screw That Egg Ship. Slot It All Off. Now You Know How They Feel. That's Not a Good Look. And hashtag Farm Life.
I have moodlets. What are they? I think what actually said was, what's a moodlet? The Calming Towel. Because You're an Idiot. Because Nip said that I think about 5 times. It's like, because you're an idiot.
Because he is.
Don't Be Better Than Me. Depression of My Own Making. And That Devil, Daylight Saving.
I really like Depression of My Own Making, but
it's pretty good. I'd be okay with
it. I mean,
I'm
do we throw it to
it.
chat? Is it too dark or is it not too dark?
It's never too dark.
I mean, it's 2020. Come on, it can't be that dark.
I don't think it's too dark. I'd be okay with it if you guys are.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Let me just write it down, because I did not have that one down.
It gets a circle. Circle takes a square.
Oh, jeez. I think what you mean to say is it gets a highlight.
There you go. Jimbo Jangles gives it the thumbs up and says, just right. All right,
just the right side of depression.
That's right. All right, ready to go when you guys are.
I'm good.
I'm ready.
All right. Starting in 3, 2, 1. This is That Video Game Podcast, episode 646 from March 9th, 2020. Depression of My Own Making.
Virtual me will not be better.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Copyright claim.
Yep.
All right, thank you so much, everyone, for watching us. Thank you, a ton of people hanging out with us this week. Thank you so much. We are back every week at the exact same time, so I hope to see you all here.
Roughly the exact same time.
The same time-ish. Yeah,
you know what?
Because
you know
of
what
daylight
helps?
savings.
That's right. That devil.
I was going to say, you know what helps is when daylight savings happens, and we're now on the earlier time for the European folks too.
There you go.
Because I used to watch live all the time when I was in the UK until daylight savings time hit, and then I'd have to stop.
That's right. Yeah, so we hope to see you back next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.